The internet is completely full of quote-unquote millionaires' mentors. In fact, there are so many that it can become difficult to identify who's legit and who's just selling a high-performance image just to sell their courses and products. In today's video, I'm going to give you the most important lessons you should learn from the actual gurus and mentors on the internet. And these lessons have helped me and people that I know make more money, achieve more goals, improve happiness, and feel more fulfilled. Lesson number 3 by Brian Tracy. Be results-oriented and set goals. Brian Tracy is the author of Eat That Frog and dozens of other great books. He studied psychology and he teaches on goal setting, being results-oriented, and self-improvement. As Brian says, we are what we continuously do, so our habits represent who we are. If you have bad habits, you're a bad person. If you have good habits, you're a good person. Here's a quote that might help you understand this better. Good habits are hard to develop but easy to live with. Bad habits are easy to develop but hard to live with. Unproductive habits won't make your life better. It'll just make it worse. For example, if you're always eating unhealthy food, never exercising, and never learning, you will become lazy, lethargic, and you won't accomplish anything. Good habits, like working out daily, are harder to develop since they're uncomfortable and require effort, but will make your life easier and more fulfilling. Here are the 2 most important habits that Brian always talks about. Number 2, set goals. Goals will help you understand where you're going and if you're going in the right direction. Without goals, you'll lack clarity, and you just won't really know what's going on in your life. I suggest not making the goal-setting process complicated and messy. That would just make you less likely to follow through with the system. I want you to set short, medium, and long-term goals, and all the goals must have clear outcomes and deadlines. If it's a more complicated goal, you might want to write down a list of targets that are necessary for you to accomplish the goal. Basically, you should break down the goal into smaller tasks. And that's it. Simple, quick, and clear. Doing this will change the way you see the world and will give you the right motivation to get stuff done. Number 1, be results-oriented. Being results-oriented means that everything you do is aimed at generating results. This also means that you focus most of your efforts on the things that will generate more results. In other words, if you have a list of tasks you want to do, you should prioritize your list on accomplishing tasks that will generate the most result first. To practice and develop this habit, you, first of all, need to write down your task for every single day the day before. This gives you clarity on what needs to get done and helps you organize your efforts and attention to accomplish crucial daily tasks first. Lesson number 2 by Jordan Belfort. The importance of selling. Jordan Belfort currently works as a course seller and motivational speaker. He runs these sales seminars called Jordan Belfort Straight Line Sales Psychology, in which he teaches his straightforward selling strategy. You've probably watched the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. Well, he's that guy. He actually spent 22 months in prison for security fraud and money laundering, and he made investors lose about $200 million, which, thanks to inflation, is worth almost $336 million today. However, he's now a reformed man. He's written multiple books and spoken in numerous events and seminars. He mainly teaches how to sell and communicate. If you ever heard him talk, you know that he's a very entertaining and persuasive speaker. I could listen to the guy for hours. So why is selling so important, both in business and in personal life? Every successful entrepreneur knows how to sell. And it's not only important if you're interacting with customers or trying to close prospects. It is always necessary. You see, selling isn't just to sell a product. You could have an idea, an emotion, a vision. Every time you're trying to convince someone to do something, go somewhere, or hang out, you're selling, and you're probably doing it every single day without even realizing it. However, selling something isn't as easy as it sounds. It isn't just the ability to use the right words and list the right benefits. It goes way beyond that. We actually made a video on this. The link's in the description below. But here's the basic principle. You need to learn how to listen to people. We all have a filter, and everything we hear passes through that filter before it enters our mind. So it doesn't really matter what others say to us. The only thing that matters is how we interpret what they say. So there isn't a universal script. You need to be fluid with your tools and rules, since every person is different. You need to ask the right questions, listen closely to what they say, and then use the information to persuade properly. This skill isn't just for business people, negotiators, and entrepreneurs. For example, if you're trying to get a job, you must have an interview with the employer, and that's when you have to sell yourself. So selling is a necessary part of life, and if you learn how to do it right, you'll have an advantage over everyone else. Lesson number 1 by Dan Lok, The Importance of Value. You probably already heard of Dan Lok, and maybe you've even watched some of his videos. So I know that not everyone likes how he conducts business, but you do have to respect him for his success. He's a Chinese-born Canadian entrepreneur. He's a multimillionaire, and he owns and started several businesses. He now sells courses with the pyramid scheme strategy, and it's been working great for him. Again, no matter what you think of him, the guy knows what he's talking about. He's best known as an expert in closing and copywriting, but his main skill is selling, and he talks a lot about it on his social media pages. While studying Dan Lok, I came to the conclusion that the most important word in business is value. Whether you believe in karma or not, our society and moral code are structured in such a way that what you output will probably become an input in the future. In other words, everything that you do, positive or negative, will happen to you in the future, aka you get what you give. When it comes to business, especially if you're trying to sell a product or service, it is fundamental that you understand the importance of value. You can consider it a law of economics, even though it might not always be true. The Dan Lok strategy. So let me illustrate for you what Dan Lok does and his strategy. So here's what his strategy looks like. First of all, he's got an immense YouTube channel with an overwhelming amount of content that brings value. We're talking about guides and tips on how to do business in general and some specific tips. People watch his videos, they get value, so they think, well, if he helped me so much with his free videos, I wonder how much he can help me if I pay him. And that's when you buy the course. See how this works? Simple yet effective. Offering value with your product or service. In order to get clients, what you're selling needs to offer value to the buyer. I mean, no one's going to buy a useless item that serves no purpose. The more useful an item is, the more people will want to buy it, and the more they'll be willing to pay for it. There's a saying that goes like, price is never a problem when you offer exceptional value. This is true in most cases. When you offer exceptional value, you'll have no problem raising the price because people will still buy it since it solves a problem that they have. While there are other factors to consider, like competition and market limitations, this simple concept will help you make progress in business, no matter what you're selling. And there you have it. You see, there are many gurus and public figures out there, but the thing is, you don't need to follow all of them to stay up to date on business strategies. Not all information is worth your time, so I advise you to choose one source of info that you trust to stay informed on the best tips and strategies to elevate your personal and financial life. Well, that's it for today's video.